Parsha 21, Tisa, when you take, Shemot 30:11 to 34:35, or Exodus 30:11 to 34:35. Adonai said to Moshe, when you take a census of the people of Israel and register them, each upon registration is to pay a ransom for his life to Adonai, to avoid any breakout of plague among them during the time of the census. Everyone subject to the census is to pay an offering to Adonai, half a shekel, 1/5 of an ounce of silver, by the standard of the sanctuary shekel. A shekel equals 20 gerahs. Everyone over 20 years of age who is subject to the census is to give this offering to Adonai. The rich is not to give more, or the poor less, than half a shekel when giving Adonai's offering to atone for your lives. You are to take the atonement money from the people of Israel and use it for the service in the tent of meeting, so that it will be a reminder of the people of Israel before Adonai to atone for your lives. Adonai said to Moshe, you are to take a basin of bronze with a base of bronze for washing. Place it between the tent of meeting and the altar. Put water in it. Aaron and his sons will wash their hands and feet there, and when they enter the tent of meeting, they are to wash with water, so they won't die. Also, when they approach the altar to minister by burning an offering for Adonai, they are to wash their hands and feet, so they won't die. This is a perpetual law for them through all their generations. Adonai said to Moshe, take the best spices, 500 shekels of myrrh, which is about 12.5 pounds, half this amount, 250 shekels of aromatic cinnamon, that's about 6.25 pounds, 250 shekels of aromatic cane, which is 500 shekels of cassia. Use the sanctuary standard and 1 gallon of olive oil, and make them into a holy anointing oil. Blend it and perfume it, as would an expert perfume maker. It will be a holy anointing oil. Use it to anoint the tent of meeting, the ark of the testimony, the table and all its utensils, the menorah and all its utensils, the incense altar, the altar for burnt offerings and all its utensils, and the basin with its base. You are to consecrate them. They will be especially holy, and whatever touches them will be holy. Then you are to anoint Aaron and his sons. You are to consecrate them to serve me in the office of Kohen. Tell the people of Israel, this is to be a holy anointing oil for me through all your generations. It is not to be used for anointing a person's body, and you are not to make any like it, with the same composition of ingredients. It is holy, and you are to treat it as holy. Whoever makes any like it, or uses it on any authorized person, is to be cut off from his people. Aaron said to Moshe, take aromatic plant substances, balsam resin, sweet okaya root, and bitter galbanum gum, these spices along with frankincense, all in equal quantities, and make incense, blended and perfumed as would an expert perfume maker, salted, pure, and holy. You are to grind up some of it very finely and put it in front of the testimony in the tent of meeting, where I will meet with you. You are to regard it as especially holy. You are not to make for your own use any incense like it, with the same composition of ingredients. You are to treat it as holy for Adonai. Whoever makes up any like it to use this perfume is to be cut off from his people. Adonai said to Moshe, I have singled out Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, the tribe of Judah. I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom, understanding, and knowledge concerning every kind of artistry. He is a master of design, in gold, silver, bronze, cutting precious stones to be set, wood carving, and every other craft. I have also appointed as his assistant Oholiab, the son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan. Moreover, I have endowed all the craftsmen with the wisdom to make everything I have ordered you: the tent of meeting, the ark for the testimony, the ark cover above it, all the furnishings of the tent, the table and its utensils, the pure menorah and all its utensils, the incense altar, the altar for burnt offerings, and all its utensils, the basin and its base, the garments for officiating, the garments for Aaron the Cohen, and the garments for his sons, so that they can serve in the office of Cohen, the anointing oil and the incense of aromatic spices for the holy place. And they are to make everything just as I have ordered you. Adonai said to Moshe, "Tell the people of Israel, you are to observe my Shabbats, for this is a sign between me and you through all your generations, so that you will know that I am Adonai, who sets you apart for me. Therefore you are to keep my Shabbat, because it is set apart for you. Everyone who treats it as ordinary must be put to death, for whoever does any work on it shall be cut off from his people. On 6 days work will be done, but the seventh day is Shabbat, for complete rest, set apart for Adonai. Whoever does any work on the day of Shabbat must be put to death. The people of Israel are to keep the Shabbat, to observe Shabbat through all the generations, as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the people of Israel forever. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, but on the seventh day he stopped working and rested. When he had finished speaking with Moshe on Mount Sinai, Adonai gave him 2 tablets of testimony, tablets of stone inscribed by the finger of God. When the people saw that Moshe was taking a long time to come down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said to him, "Get busy and make us gods to go ahead of us, because this Moshe, the man who brought us from the land of Egypt, we don't know what has become of him." Aaron said to them, "Have your wives, sons, and daughters strip off their gold earrings and bring them to me." The people stripped off their gold earrings and brought them to Aaron. He received what they gave him and melted it down and made it into the shape of a calf. They said, "Israel, here is your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt." On seeing this, Aaron built an altar in front of it and proclaimed, "Tomorrow is to be a feast for Adonai." Early the next morning they got up and offered burnt offerings and presented peace offerings. Afterwards the people sat down to eat and drink, and they got up to indulge in revelry. Adonai said to Moshe, "Go down, hurry, your people whom you brought out from the land of Egypt have become corrupt. So quickly they have turned aside from the way I ordered them to follow. They have cast a metal statue of a calf and worshipped it, sacrificed to it, and said, 'Israel, here is your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt.'" Adonai continued speaking to Moshe, "I have been watching these people, and you can see how stiff-necked they are. Now leave me alone, so that my anger can blaze against them, and I can put an end to them. I will make a great nation out of you instead." Moshe pleaded with Adonai his God. He said, "Adonai, why must your anger blaze against your own people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and a strong hand? Why let the Egyptians say it was with evil intentions that he led them out to slaughter them in the hills and wipe them off the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce anger. Relent. Don't bring such disaster on your people. Remember Abram, Yitzhak, and Israel your servants, to whom you swore by your very self. You promised them, 'I will make your descendants as many as the stars in the sky, and I will give all this land I have spoken about to your descendants, and they will possess it forever.'" Adonai then changed his mind about the disaster he had planned for his people. Moshe turned and went down from the mountain with the 2 tablets of testimony in his hand, tablets inscribed on both sides, on the front and on the back. The tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God engraved on the tablets. When Yehoshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moshe, "It sounds like a war in the camp." He answered, "That is neither the clamor of victory nor the wailing of defeat. What I hear is the sound of people singing." But the moment Moshe got near the camp, when he saw the calf and the dancing, his own anger blazed up. He threw down the tablets he had been holding and shattered them at the base of the mountain. Seizing the calf they had made, he melted it in the fire and ground it into a fine powder, which he scattered on the water. Then he made the people of Israel drink it. Moshe said to Aaron, What did these people do to you to make you lead them into such a terrible sin?" Aaron replied, "My Lord shouldn't be so angry. You know what these people are like, and they are determined to do evil. So they said to me, 'Make us gods to go ahead of us, because this Moshe, the man that brought us up from the land of Egypt, we don't know what's become of him.' I answered them, 'Anyone with gold, strip it off.' So they gave it to me. I threw it in the fire, and out came this calf." When Moshe saw that the people had gotten out of control because Aaron had allowed them to get out of control, to the derision of their enemies, Moshe stood at the entrance to the camp and shouted, "Whoever is for Adonai, come to me." All the descendants of Levi rallied around him. He told them, "Here is what Adonai, the God of Israel, says. Each of you put his sword on his side and go up and down the camp from gate to gate, and every man is to kill his own kinsman, his own friend, and his own neighbor. The sons of Levi did what Moshe said, and that day 3,000 of the people died. Moshe said, "You have consecrated yourselves today to Adonai, because every one of you has been against his own son and against his own kinsman, in order to bring a blessing on yourselves today." That next day Moshe said to the people, "You have committed a terrible sin. Now I will go up to Adonai, and maybe I will be able to atone for your sin." Moshe went back to Adonai and said, "Please, these people have committed a terrible sin. They have made themselves a god out of gold. Now if you will just forgive their sin. But if you won't, then I beg you, blot me out of the book which you have written." Adonai answered Moshe, "Those who have sinned against me are the ones I will blot out of my book. Now go and lead the people to the place I told you about. My angel will go ahead of you. Nonetheless, the time for punishment will come, and I will punish them for their sin." Adonai struck the people with a plague because they had made the calf, the one Aaron made. Adonai said to Moshe, Leave you and the people you brought up from the land of Egypt, and move on from here toward the land which I swore to Abram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. I will give it to your descendants. I will send an angel ahead of you, and I will drive out the Kenite, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Pizri, the Hivite, and the Yesuvi. And we will go into a land flowing with milk and honey. But I myself will not go with you, because you are such a stiff-necked people that I might destroy you on the way. When the people heard this bad news, they went into mourning, and no one wore his own ornaments. Adonai said to Moshe, Tell the people of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people, and if I were to go up with you for even one moment, I would exterminate you. Now keep your ornaments off, and then I will decide what to do to you. So from Mount Horeb onward, the people of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments. Moshe would take the tent and pitch it outside the camp, far away from the camp. He called it the tent of meeting. Everyone who wanted to consult Adonai would go out to the tent of meeting outside the camp. Whenever Moshe went out to the tent, all the people would get up and stand, each man at his door, and look at Moshe until he had gone into the tent. Whenever Moshe entered the tent, the column of smoke would descend and station itself at the entrance to the tent, and Adonai would speak with Moshe. When all the people saw the column of smoke stationed at the entrance of the tent, they would get up and prostrate themselves, each man at his tent door. Adonai would speak to Moshe face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and then he would return to the camp. But the young man who was his assistant, YHWH, the son of Nun, never left the inside of the tent. Moshe said to Adonai, Look, you say to me, make these people move on, but you haven't let me know whom you will be sending with me. Nevertheless, you have said, I know you by name, and also, you have found favor in my sight. Now please, if it is really the case that I have found favor in your sight, show me your ways so that I will understand you and continue finding favor in your sight. Moreover, keep on seeing this nation as your people. He answered, Set your mind at rest. My presence will go with you after all. Moshe replied, If your presence doesn't go with us, don't make us go from here, for how else is it to be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people, other than by your going with us? That is what distinguishes us, me and your people, from the other peoples of the earth. Adonai said to Moshe, I will also do what you have asked me to do, because you have found favor in my sight. I know you by name. But Moshe said, I beg you to show me your glory. He replied, I will cause all my goodness to pass before you, and in your presence I will pronounce the name of Adonai. Moreover, I will show favor to whom I will, and I will display mercy to whom I will. But my face, he continued, you cannot see, because a human cannot look up at me and remain alive. Here, he said, is a place near me. Stand on the rock, and when my glory passes by, I will put you inside a crevice in the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by, and then I will remove my hand, and you will see my back, but not my face to be seen. Adonai said to Moshe, Cut yourself 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and I will inscribe on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. Be ready by morning. In the morning you are to ascend Mount Sinai and present yourself to me on the top of the mountain. No one is to come up with you, and no one is to be seen anywhere on the mountain. Do not even let the flocks or herds feed in front of the mountain. Moshe cut 2 stone tablets like the first, and then he got up early in the morning, and with the 2 stone tablets in his hand, ascended Mount Sinai, as Adonai had ordered him to do. Adonai descended on a cloud, stood with him there, and pronounced the name of Adonai. Adonai passed before him and proclaimed, YHWH. YHWH. Adonai is God. Merciful and compassionate, slow to anger, rich in grace and truth, showing grace to the 1000th generation, forgiving offenses, crimes, and sin, yet not exonerating the guilty, but causing the negative effects of the parents' offenses to be experienced by their children, grandchildren, and even by the 3rd and 4th generations. At once Moshe bowed his head to the ground, prostrated himself, and said, If I have found favor in your view, Adonai, then let Adonai go with us. Even though they are a stiff-necked people, pardon our offenses and our sin, and take us as your possession. He said, Here I am, making a covenant in front of all your people. I will do wonders such as have not been created anywhere on earth or in any nation. All the people around you will see the work of Adonai. What I am going to do through you will be awesome. Observe what I am ordering you to do today. Here I am driving out ahead of you the Amorite, the Kenite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivi, and the Usavi. Be careful not to make a covenant with the people living in the land where you are going, so that you won't become a snare within your own borders. Rather, you are to demolish their altars, smash their standing stones, and cut down their sacred poles, because you are not to bow down to any other god, since Adonai, whose very name is jealous, is a jealous God. Do not make a covenant with the people living in the land. It will cause you to go astray after their gods and sacrifice to their gods, and then they will invite you to join them in eating their sacrifices, and you will take their daughters as wives for your sons. Their daughters will prostitute themselves to their own gods, and make your sons do the same. Do not cast metal gods for yourselves. Keep the festival of matzah by eating matzah as I ordered you for 7 days during the month of Aviv. For it was in the month of Aviv you came out from Egypt. Everything that is first from the womb is mine. All of your livestock you are to set aside from me. The males, the firstborn of cattle and flock, the firstborn of a donkey, you must redeem with a lamb. If you won't redeem it, break its neck. All the firstborn of your sons you are to redeem, and no one is to appear before me empty-handed. 6 days you will work, but on the 7th day you are to rest. Even in plowing time and harvest season you are to rest. Observe the festivals of Shavuot with the first gathered produce of the wheat harvest, and the festival of ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times a year all your men are to appear before the Lord Adonai, the God of Israel. For I am going to expel the nations ahead of you and expand your territory, and no one will even covet your land when you go up to appear before Adonai your God 3 times a year. You are not to offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, and the sacrifice of the feast of Pesach is not to be left until morning. You are to bring the best firstfruits of your land into the house of Adonai your God. You are not to boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Adonai said to Moshe, Write these words down, because they are the terms of the covenant I have made with you and with Israel. Moshe was there with Adonai 40 days and 40 nights, during which time he neither ate food nor drank water. Wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 words. Then Moshe came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of testimony in his hand. He didn't realize the skin of his face was sending out rays of light as a result of his talking with Adonai. And when Aaron and the people of Israel saw Moshe, the skin of his face was shining, and they were afraid to approach him. But Moshe called to them. Then Aaron and all the community leaders came back to him, and Moshe spoke to them. Afterwards all the people of Israel came near, and he passed on to them all the orders that Adonai had told him on Mount Sinai. Once Moshe was finished speaking with them, he put on a veil on his face. But when he went in before Adonai for him to speak, he would take the veil off until he came out. Then, when he came out, he would tell the people of Israel what he had been ordered. But when the people of Israel saw Moshe's face, that the skin of Moshe's face shone, he would put the veil back on his face until he went in again to speak with Adonai.